Under Finance, Resolution 2020-09, authorizing USD 259 Sedgwick County, Kansas, Wichita to enter into a lease purchase transaction, the proceeds of which will be used to pay the cost of acquiring certain equipment and to approve the execution of certain documents in connection therewith. At the Board of Education meeting on February 24th, 2020, Administration made a presentation on lease purchase financing and its potential application to support district initiatives. Lease purchase financing would allow the district to purchase personal property such as computers, copiers, and other equipment on an installment contract. Administration proposed an agreement with Piper Sandler and Company as the exclusive placement agent for possible lease purchase financing arrangements. At that meeting, the board approved an agreement with Piper Sandler and Company to act as the exclusive placement agent for possible lease purchase financing arrangements not to exceed $30 million. For its initial lease purchase arrangement, the district seeks to place $10,835,000 for the lease of student and staff computer hardware under the district's devised rotation strategy. At the Board of Education meeting on April 20th, 2020, the board approved Resolution 2020-06, which authorized Piper Sandler and Company to commence an RFP process to find competitive terms and rates for the leasing arrangement, which would be brought back to the board for final approval within the next 2 months. KSA 10-1116B and KSA 72-1149 give the district legal authority to authorize these improvements and the financing of the same through the execution and delivery of a lease purchase agreement. Today's agenda item provides for adoption of Resolution 2020-09 as provided in Appendix 1, Section 1 of Resolution 2020-09 includes the following statements. 1. The district is hereby authorized to acquire the improvements at a cost of $10,627,595. The cost of issuance will be $97,406. Commerce Bank provided the lowest interest rate at 1.24%, and interest cost over the next 4 years will total $323,838.92. The total project cost at the end of 4 years is $11,048,838.92. The district documents are hereby approved in substantially the form submitted to and reviewed by the governing body on the date thereof, with such changes therein as shall be approved by the President's execution of the district documents to become conclusive evidence of such approval. The obligation of the district to pay rental payments as defined in the agreement, under the agreement, is subject to annual appropriation and shall constitute a current expense of the district and shall not in any way be construed to be an indebtedness or liability of the district in contravention or any applicable constitutional or statutory limitation or requirement concerning the creation of indebtedness or liability by the district. Nor shall anything contained in the agreement constitute a pledge of the general tax revenues, funds, or monies of the district, and all provisions of the agreement shall be construed so as to give effect to such intent. Resolution 2020-09 is provided in Appendix 1. It is recommended the Board approve the adoption of Resolution 2020-09, authorizing USD 259, Sedgwick County, Kansas, Wichita, to enter into a lease purchase transaction, the proceeds of which will be used to pay the cost of acquiring certain equipment and to approve the execution of certain documents in connection therewith.
Welcome, Susan. Thank you.
Afternoon, President Logan, Dr. Thompson, members of the board. So I'm the third leg of this, I was going to use the word race, but maybe it's a marathon at this point, this afternoon that talks through our continuous learning plan, our technology and digital divide, and how we're going to address those issues. So our financial plan this afternoon for this technology purchase that we are proposing starts with the item that's actually in the consent agenda today, and it is the recommendation that the board approve from multiple sources devices in the amount not to exceed $24 million for district standard hardware approved equipment required by district schools. So to kind of break down kind of that plan, and Rob did an excellent job. It's kind of hard to keep up with him, to be quite honest. We're just kind of running to keep up with him and all his initiatives. But what we're looking at as far as the student needs is that we are proposing purchasing around 24,000 Wi-Fi enabled devices, primarily those HP ProBook 440s he described, and about 1,000 Microsoft Surface Pros to meet the student needs in the secondary level. Staff secondary needs, we are looking at purchasing about 1,000 devices for high schools and about 300 devices for 6th grade. Those would all be Microsoft Surface Pros. Those plans will then kind of meet together with the previous plan that we had with elementary staff. Those were the Surface Pros that we approved earlier in the spring, and then kind of where we're going with our future plans, some of which Rob mentioned as far as his initiatives into those middle school grants and how devices might flow through there. But in the elementary ranks, we would use existing technology plus those potential HP 440s that could move from middle to elementary depending on those grant awards. So kind of all of these plans that are kind of now really kind of coming together in a comprehensive device strategy. We will still need to look at the secondary staff needs for 7th and 8th grade. We'll be looking at that either into fiscal year 21, but more likely into fiscal year 22, depending on if there's other stimulus packages that come our way. So again, just to kind of, we've been talking about these sources of funds for a couple months now, but to kind of put it all together for you, the lease purchase equipment funds that are going to be made available through this lease purchase that we're asking you, the board, to approve today. The equipment costs are going to be a little over $10.6 million. We will use an additional $2 million out of capital outlay, and we will tap the CARES federal funding for about $11.2 million for a total hopeful device purchasing about 23.9, which is therefore leads us to our not to exceed $24 million number. That's the source of funds and how it breaks down. As far as the payment, kind of the cash flow of this kind of entire transaction, I wanted to look at what we're doing immediately and then how the funds will go out in the subsequent years. So as soon as the board has voted to either move forward with this proposal, if it does in fact move forward, then we will basically issue a purchase order for those devices so that we can get those moving for hopeful delivery in August. So we would encumber funds immediately out of capital outlay of around $2 million, and we would encumber the federal funds for 11.2. We do not have to encumber, though, for that lease purchase transaction. That's the benefit of this particular vehicle. We would have our first interest and principal payments going out in fiscal year 21 of about $2.7 million, with that amount being about the same for the subsequent 3 years. So that's the primary benefit that we're seeing related to this lease purchase, is that we're spreading that cost over 4 fiscal years so that we're not having to spend all of those capital outlay dollars to meet our immediate need, which is August, or a month or two into the next school year. So the total cost of that transaction with interest and the cost of issuance is $11 million, but we are spreading those costs so we don't have to hit the federal funds so hard with the technology purchase, leaving the safety initiatives and the cleaning initiatives to be funded by those additional CARE dollars. So we were very, very pleased with the interest rate that Piper Sandler was able to bring into house for us. Commerce is a longtime partner, so that was an added benefit that they came in with the lowest interest rate. So it's a partner we're familiar with. It's a partner we know, and so the total cost of the initiative will be about $24.3 million, but that again is over a 4-year period. So again, just to kind of reiterate those lease details, it is through Commerce Bank. It's actually through its subsidiary called Clayton Holdings LLC. The interest rate is 1.24%. The term will be 4 years. And again, those equipment costs of about $10.6 million, 97,000 and change for the cost of issuance, and then interest costs of about $24,000 for, again, a total cost of just over $11 million. So we are recommending that the board approve the adoption of Resolution 2020-09, which will authorize the district to enter into a lease purchase transaction, the proceeds of which will be used to pay the costs of acquiring certain technology equipment, and to approve the execution of the documents in connection therewith. And I have a guest expert with me today, Mr. Dustin Avey with Piper Sandler, who is an expert in all things lease purchase. Obviously, this is our first one, so I wanted to make sure if the board had any specific questions that I was unable to answer, that you had a resource available for you today. And certainly, Rob can expand on the equipment if you haven't fully got the plan in your mind at this point. So we'll stand for questions.
I do have one. In fact, I have two. I know that everybody is looking at buying computers around the country now in schools because we're all in the same position. Are we going to be able to have these in before school starts?
So we vetted with the vendor very carefully these questions, and this is kind of why we've kind of pushed this pretty quickly into June as early as we possibly could, getting everything else aligned. We plan to cut that PO tomorrow morning so that we are moving, and we believe they should be in either late July or early August. We're hoping late July, but we should still meet our timeline at this point.
Great. And my second question is, and it's on your slide where it says previous and future plans, and the staff needs for secondary. Elementary, we purchased,
Yes.
or are in the process of purchasing those. But our secondaries, it says you'll still need 600 devices for the 7th and 8th grade. I am assuming that our teachers have something now that they can get them through for another year.
Absolutely. The advantage of these Surface Pros, as I think Dr. Thompson was modeling it earlier, it has a handle. It's very portable around the classroom. We specifically wanted to make sure 6th grade staff had it because they're the next group to move on the SRGs. So yes, she's doing a very nice job of showing how it works.
Thank you, Vanna.
So we knew we wanted to have that. We knew we needed some improved high school equipment. Again, listening to the data that Dr. Irving had shared earlier about the high schools wanting those online components in their learning opportunities. So trying to balance money going out the door and the needs of our staff and students, we thought we could at least delay just a little bit the 7th and 8th grade staff, knowing that if everything comes in as we anticipate, we might be able to get a jump start on those pieces of equipment towards the end of fiscal year 21, no later than 22. Especially now that we have such a favorable interest rate. We were forecasting a $3.3 million payment out of capital. So at 2.7 and change, that will actually help us move a little faster on these plans.
Good. And just one last question, and this is just a technicality. On the first page, you're recommending not to exceed 24 million, but I'm seeing on the slide it says it's $24,323,839.
So the difference there is what we're asking the board to approve is the purchase of the equipment through vendor. So HP and Microsoft, we're writing checks to those vendors, and those costs to the vendors will not exceed $24 million. That's the slide where we're showing the 23.9.
Right.
So because that's the cost of equipment. The cost, including the interest, the true total cost of this program is actually over 24, but you're approving the interest through the lease purchase.
Okay.
So we need board authority to write the checks to the vendor. That will be under $24 million.
Okay. Thank you. Mike?
I'll go ahead and make the motion if that's okay.
Yes.
I'd like to,
Julie has a question.
Okay.
I have a question. Julie, Hedrick, District 2. Susan, the 2 million plus coming from capital outlay, was that already in a budget for technology items? Or,
Yes.
or is the budget having to be reallocated so that those capital monies are causing some other facilities related project not to happen?
Those dollars were part of the allocation to technology, so we did not have to delay any projects or pull any additional dollars from another area.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Ernestine, did you have any questions? Guess not.
No.
Okay. Mike?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2020-09, authorizing, I don't know how much of this I need to read, which, to enter in a lease purchase transaction.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor from Mike. Do I hear a second?
Ernestine seconds it.
Okay, the motion was made by Mike Rhodey and seconded by Ernestine Crable. Ben?
Oh, Ben Blankley, District 1, yes.
Mike Rhodey, District 5, yes.
Cheryl Logan at large, yes.
Stan Reeser, District 4, yes.
Julie? Julie?
Julie Hedrick, District 2, yes.
Ernestine?
Ernestine Craigle, District 3, yes.
Motion passes 7-0. You can do the happy dance now. Thank you very much, Susan. It is exciting. I mean, we're going to finally have the technology that our students need, and that's really important in today's world.